Yellow Black 84 said, let's ask the question. What's Freo's excuse for being largely irrelevant since its inception?
Yes, Druzy. What is their excuse?
Well, early days, it was bad decisions. Like the fact that we traded, what was it, like 2 first-rounders for Trent Crode, who ended up being Sam Mitchell and Luke Hodge. Like that's just a bad footballing decision.
Yep.
Andrew McLeod.
Oh, Georgie.
Was Andrew McLeod on Freo's list?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he
I've
was
heard
on our
that.
list for a year.
I can't say that for sure, but
Or like he had the option. I don't know. But like,
there were some horrendous trades for draft picks.
yeah.
And like new players in the competition back in the 90s. Like we just didn't have the draft or talent ID recruiting. We didn't have that figured out back then.
Yeah. So that was why we were pretty average early on. And then, yeah, it sort of took us... Well, we played our first final in 2003, and then we made a prelim in 2006.
Was that... Because I want to say about Fremantle back in the early 2000s, they had a coach by the name of Chris Connolly, who was very innovative. And he was one of the first coaches to ever bring in full on what you see now with the interchanges. He was constantly moving players on and off the bench to rotate them. Largely before about 2001, AFL players didn't rotate on the bench. Your best players just played the whole quarter. They played for as long as they possibly could. And if they got hurt at some point, they would come onto the bench. And that's the only reason you would use the interchange. He started to look at sports like NHL, like NFL, and thought you can actually switch these guys. It's
tactical benefit.
Tactical benefits. And I think he looked at someone like a Shane Crawford, who he noticed that he would go through periods of quarters where he'd have like a lot of disposals, and then he'd fade out of the game because of that fatigue.
Yeah.
And being able to put a gap in the quarter, give him that 2-3 minutes to reload, he started to do that. And then Freo got pretty much no benefit out of it. It didn't seem to help them because he was one of the first people to implement it. And then teams like Collingwood, I think around 2010, when they started to kind of perfect it, they were the ones that got the benefit out of it. Players like Dane Swan, he used to be on and off the bench constantly.
Yeah, right. It's crazy to think, like, I've just grown up with that, but like that is innovative. Like, give player rest, he come back better.
Yeah. It's true though. Wow. And I'm going off tangent here because that person asked a valid question about why Fremantle.
It was
I
bad
didn't
decisions.
answer that question.
It was bad decisions.
Yeah, but I think he wasn't one of them, Chris Connolly. I think he was an innovative coach that a lot of...
Well, he turned it around for us.
Yeah, and I think when some of those coaches that are really innovative, they're not the ones that reap the rewards. It's the next guy that comes in.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that Ross Lyon was innovative for Freo because we need JL to take us to the promised land. And today was shocking. Jordan Sweet.
Do you still think he's the man?
I don't have the answer to that question, unfortunately.
You were more sure last week.
Yeah, I've seen steady improvement, but...
Is that enough, though?
What's not enough is games like today where we just don't show up. Like, that is just not on. Not good enough.
Is there any element that you'd say GMHBA, it's a tough place to go?
No, because being at the ground, we just weren't intense. We just weren't bringing any type of pressure. It's not even like... Well, I feel like Geelong didn't even get out of second gear today. They just sort of went through the motions, like...
They do that a lot, though, don't they? There's such a...
It was genuinely a shit game of football today, and I think even Geelong fans would have said that.
Yeah.
Like the goals they were kicking, like it just sucked. The whole game.
Would you take the shit football though for a win if you were the Cats?
Oh, 100%. But like they didn't need to. Like you already know, Easter Monday they're going to show up, MCG, 90,000 people, and there's going to be some tough contests. There's going to be some high-level tactical stuff being pulled out. Sam Mitchell versus Chris Scott. Today, it felt like an exhibition. It just felt like there was no... Yeah, it sucked.
We'll finish on Freo.
Okay.
Just to have a little bit of a chat before we go off.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
I just feel like we're past the point of this bullshit don't turn up performance. Like, 2022 we made finals, went out in a semi against Collingwood.
Yep.
And then going into 2023, we had a lot of expectations, like similar as we do this year. Like, we got to perform, we got to make finals, and we got to push deeper. And then like we had that dip year in 2023, 2024, we were pretty much a really good home and away side all year, but just fell short. So like we've learnt the lessons of like these games where we just don't show up. And today reminded me of like 2018 Ross Lyon going to Cardinia Park, Matt Taberner up forward, and we got pumped. we lost by like 92 points. But like today wasn't far off that. And it's like we've come so far since then. How are we still getting the same outcomes?
And it's round one.
It's round one, and we've beaten them there the last 2 times that we've been there. So like, yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of questionable decisions today, I think, with selection. Like,
oh, give me some names here.
Well, we had our back six, which is solid. So Cox, Pearce, Ryan, and then Clark, Walker, and Draper. It's just like standard back six. But we also had Corey Wagner.
I was going to say, what is his...
I like Wagner. I don't hate Wagner.
You know he's one of these guys that I'm not going to like.
Yeah, but like we had him, we had Carl Warner, and then Heath Chapman as sub. Like
I saw Heath Chapman as sub.
That's ridiculous.
So where should Chapman be?
Starting as a halfback, like, or playing on the wing, or like anywhere.
He's got to be.
But he got subbed on and played forward. Like,
who got subbed out?
I actually don't know. They didn't announce it at the
Oh, you're at the ground, so it's a little bit more difficult. I didn't catch the end of that game. I was blown away by Murphy Reid kicking 4 goals.
Well, that was the only good thing that happened. And it's like, if it wasn't for Murphy Reid today, we would have lost by over 100.
I agree with you, though. Like, Freo were past that point where Murphy Reid kicking 4 goals should have been the exciting thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of that's Richmond. That's where Richmond is at, right? Like, we're getting pumped up about these young players. You've talked to me about the defense and saying that you think the defense is really solid. Do you think there's an element that Longmuir's game protects them a little bit, that back six? Because I noticed a few things today with the small parts of the game that I actually watched. I thought Draper looked a bit lost today when he was defending one-on-one. You know what I think?
He's coming back from injury. Like, it was a test to play, so I don't think he was 100%.
Fair.
I think the most concerning parts of our game today was like slowness of ball movement, like, and just like stubbornness to just let the game come to us. Like, there was moments where we could have just gone like quick handball, moving through the corridor, but we'd try to go wide and use the width, and then like our skills went on all day and we were just fumbly. Like, but yeah, we're past this.
So that's like more of a not being proactive enough.
Yeah, just like
make it happen.
Yeah, just like let the game come to us more rather than trying to force it.
But how big, like for you, how big is, like Darcy's out of the team, so Reedy's probably, in all fairness, like not quite up to it.
Yeah.
As a number one ruck. I think you mentioned that De Koning really got on top of him today as a really young ruckman, really, although he does have a lot of athleticism, De Koning. And the other one, I guess, is Shea Bolton, because he's meant to be the one that's come in and revolutionised your attacking game.
Yeah.
How big are those outs?
Yeah, well, I think Bolton would have been very important today. Just, I don't know, when the ball fell to ground inside 50, like Switter, Frederick didn't really have any impact. The only player that did today was Murphy Reid.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? I've got to watch that. I didn't see his goals.
Well, his first one was sick. Sold the candy, like going for a set shot, and then come through and kicked a massive goal. But it was all within like 4 minutes. It wasn't like the whole quarter. It was just like bang, bang, bang.
Because I was going through the app and I was just like shuffling through, having a look at fantasy scores and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, Murphy Reid's getting into the game. And then I looked at, and I'm like, he's only had like 8 touches.
Yeah.
I looked at the goal column. I'm like, 4 goals.
Yeah.
And it was from nothing.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Completely turned the game on its head. But no, our forwards looked really lost today. Like Tracy, Amos, just not working in cohesion. Like, didn't look like they were communicating out there. There was no movement forward of the ball. It was just a really amateur performance today with subpar intensity. It was shit.
Well, that is depressing, and it's also depressing for me as a North Melbourne supporter, because we've lost this one by, I don't know what it was in the end.
It was only like 3 goals. That's not a bad result.
I mean, they had a lot of outs, and I think there was a pretty big expectation in this one from the fans that we were going to win it. I'll be probably unpacking this game through the week on my channel. Guys, this is Footy from the Flat. I'm Dylan Alexander. This is Andrew Cox, Druzy. We'll be back next week for another episode. Hopefully this time, Druzy, live on the True Footy channel.
Yeah, if we can sort that out.
If we can get that two-factor authentication.
He's been drinking beers.
I can't speak. All right, guys, that is a wrap for the stream tonight. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.